and Ray Locker is a senior journalist, an author, and also a columnist, is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Locker, welcome to the show, and thanks very much for making time for us.
You're welcome, Eric.
Now, the Colorado case is being seen as a decisive moment in Trump's ability to contest the elections. Help us understand what's on the table and how significant is this insurrection case?
Well, it's significant in that it's another thing that causes him to burn money on his legal expenses. It has to do with the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which was passed after the U.S. Civil War in 1865. It was specifically aimed at keeping members of the former Confederacy from seeking federal office once the war was over. And people believe, the people who brought these cases believe that Trump was an insurrectionist having to do with the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. And since he was part of that, he shouldn't be allowed to run for president again.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the donors. Will they continue to finance both his campaign as well as his army of lawyers?
Well, look, there are a number of people who believe sincerely that Trump was done wrong in the 2020 election, that people are out to get him, they're trying to keep him from running for president again, and so they want him to run for president. They'll do whatever they can, so they'll finance his legal bills. They probably don't know that they're paying for his legal bills. They're helping his presidential campaign, but they probably also don't care because they believe that he was done wrong. Now, that's not an opinion I share, but there are people who believe that.
Mr. Locker, how do you see the debate over his finances? A big chunk of his campaign funds are now getting used up in these legal cases. How will this impact the Trump campaign going forward?
Well, it keeps him from being able to run an effective political campaign. He has his base of support. Those people aren't going to go away. But when it comes to fighting a campaign in the swing states, of mobilizing a get-out-to-vote effort, any dollar that you're not using to spend on that, but you're using to spend on your legal bills, that's wasted money. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't, that doesn't help anybody running for president. So it's a hindrance for him.
Well, at the end of 2023, Trump's campaign stood at about $46 million, less than half of the $117 million US held by President Joe Biden's campaign. Will this play again around this time where Joe Biden uses his money to win the election?
Well, I think he's going to have more money than Trump is going to have. So, and he's not fighting any legal fights, so that makes it better for him. Trump has benefited because he's strong in certain states where he doesn't really have to spend a lot of money. I mean, he probably doesn't have to spend a lot of money in Texas that has a lot of electoral votes. But when you come down to fighting it out in swing states, Biden has a decisive advantage. Whether that's enough to get him reelected in November, it's hard to say, but it doesn't hurt. And Trump doesn't have that advantage.
All right, I've been talking to Mr. Ray Locker, who's a senior journalist, an author and columnist. Thank you very much, Mr. Ray, for talking to us today.
You're welcome. Thanks, Eric.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.